My name's Frank Leckie. I'm one of the senior salvage masters for Resolve. The job here in the beginning for us was to remove the bow section of the Rena, which was sticking out of the water. From there, it's been growing into a bigger operation. The owners had decided to go ahead and take off the accommodation block due to the fact that in a few years, and because of the weather conditions, it could start taking it apart. So they decided to go ahead and take it apart. So the plan we came off with to remove it is cut the accommodation block in half. We wanted to lift it in big sections. So behind me, we have the RMG 500. So it lifts 350 to 400 tons of the house section. Then we'll set it on top of the RMG 1000. And there it's going to be cut up into pieces and then sent to the scrapyard. Even though we have all of this equipment here, it takes time to set it all up, ready for the offshore work that it's going to be doing. So at the end of the day, it's probably 5 months of preparation, ordering things and shipping it in from different parts of the world just to set up to do the 2 days of cutting. Once we go into the operation, we can't go there and say, well, it's 6 o'clock, we got to go home. They got to work 24 hours a day, so we have to have it around the clock. They have to cut, lift, and move. So it may take up to 48 hours, 60 hours, because with the weather, we have to have a weather window of 3 days. So we have to be prepared to start, they all start, and they continue going through.
One of the reasons the Rena's operation has gone so long is due to the weather problems we've had out here. We've lost nearly 60% of the available days due to poor weather, or at least weather that makes salvage operations marginal beyond the safe limits. As you can see behind me, today would look like a fairly reasonable day at sea, but unfortunately, whilst the wind is down, the swell is running in quite hard at 2.5 to 3 metres. This makes keeping the barge on location on the Astrolabe Reef quite difficult. As can be seen from the overflight shots of this morning, the swells coming from the deep water and striking the shallow reef are significantly more amplified in that ocean environment than what they are when they arrive here at the shoreline. Due to the exposed nature of the Astrolabe Reef being 12 miles offshore, not only is the swell conditions important, but also any strong winds or strong tides have a significant effect upon our ability to safely moor up our barge. The barge must be moored safely so that our divers can work at the maximum depths that they are.
You know, we can have up to 20 knot winds on site quite easily, and the mooring spread that we're in, and also the vertical lift on the waves as well. So you consider that, and God forbid if there was a breakout of the spread, you know, you potentially pull a diver on an umbilical at 150 feet pretty quickly. So yeah, massive amount of danger.
Divers working at these sort of depths, it's extremely fatiguing. It takes 7 times more energy to do whatever they want to do compared to somebody doing it on the surface. There's a number of things that happen very quickly to a diver at that depth, and they can change a dive within seconds. It can change the dive from being just a normal dive to a potential emergency.
You know, every dive is dangerous, so we're prepared. We train. And there's a lot of safety redundancy involved in our process, so it's always good to be nervous. You know, keeps you safe, I guess. From the time we leave surface until the time we leave bottom, we have usually, if we're working at the deepest depth here, which is 150 feet, we've got 26 minutes working time on bottom. From the time we leave surface to complete whatever task we have to get back up, and it's non-stop. You really exert a lot of energy because you have a limited time frame to do tasks that usually on surface takes a little bit more than one person to do.
Come in on dive slack.
Right, up on dive slack. So from the time we pass our 40-foot stop, we've got the 4-minute interval to get into the chamber. So you really have to strip everything down, get your hat off, get out your bailout harness, wetsuit, all your gear, strip down and into the chamber. So that you're on to O2 at 50 feet within that 4-minute process.
Right now I have one gentleman inside the chamber who's doing his decompression obligation. So what ends up happening, he goes into the outer lock. This part of the chamber is already pressurized down. I keep this at 80 feet. So as soon as he gets in here and closes the doors, I open up this crossover valve, and what it does is equalize the chamber so it goes right here to 50 feet. And then I have a certain decompression schedule that I need to follow to bring him up to the surface appropriately. Especially with what the depths we're working at this point in time, this is critical, absolutely critical for these guys, for their safety. All good?
All good.
All right, roger, roger.
It's not my favorite part of diving. I don't think it's anybody.
Yeah, everything is going well so far. I mean, like I said, once we keep the guys calm, they work their butt off. I can't complain. They work very hard.
It ranks as amongst the most difficult jobs that I've been on, definitely.
Right now, we're trying our best, even with these swells. To be honest, I don't know how well it's gonna go, but we're gonna try our best to keep it as safe as possible. But it's very dangerous.
It's extremely stressful, but I still enjoy it.